In this video, we're going to talk about spark plugs and how to know if they are dead or not, or failing or not. In this company, it's probably one of the biggest causes of breakdowns, although it's not really a breakdown. And if you know what you're doing, you can get yourself out of a mess to be able to get to a mechanic shop and then replace the spark plug. A failing spark plug will cause things like the bike cutting out. It will make it difficult to start in the morning. It might be very choky when you're trying to accelerate away. But alongside the spark plug, these sorts of symptoms can be many different things. It can be a spark plug, dirty air filter, it can be valves that need adjustment, it could be a dirty carburetor. But the spark plug is the quickest and cheapest thing to look at from a mechanic's perspective. So they always start with this. So in our company, the biggest cause of spark plug issues is actually the spark plug cap gets a crack in it, which means water can leak in. So if your bike is performing badly, your first point to look at is your spark plug cap. Investigate it carefully, look for cracks, look for holes. If there is one, then you can tape it up with electrical tape. It's a really hacky fix. But basically, you need to go to a mechanic shop and they'll be able to give you another one of these. They're super cheap and readily available everywhere in Vietnam. The spark plug cap is connected to the ignition cable here. And that will then go onto the spark plug here. So what you do is you take that off and inspect it. Okay, so how about the spark plug itself? How do you know if it is old or new? If you go on the internet and you Google these things, you'll find there are pictures where spark plugs have different colors and different sorts of wear and tear and materials on them, and you're supposed to be able to look at it and figure out whether it's still a good spark plug or not. In reality, as a weekend rider, which is what we are, there's no way we can look at one of these and say, oh, that's old, that's new. That's for a mechanic or someone very experienced, not us. The other thing that can happen to spark plugs is these little things on the end that cause the spark, the gap, spark plug gap, can get wider or narrower. Again, a mechanic might be able to look at it and they'll do a hack fix. Usually they close it up, and that will allow the bike to temporarily work again. But ideally, considering the price of these, you're better off just replacing it. For us, looking at a spark plug isn't really going to help. What we want to do is test it, and I'll show you how to do that now. But before testing it, we want to first just clean it. So really, you should be traveling with one of these ear cleaning devices. You can buy them everywhere in Vietnam. You take that and your spark plug cap, and you're just going to go inside and clean it. Your objective really is to get rid of any moisture in there, make it dry. That's the biggest killer of spark plugs, is just getting wet. All right. If you don't have one of these, you can just blow into it. You can also actually unscrew these from the cable, and then you can blow into it even more effectively. The second thing you're going to do if you have one of these is you just sort of dab it around. Again, you're trying to get it as dry as possible. But if you don't have one of these, even just with your fingers, just going like this does wonders. You can take a broken bike and magically make it working just by doing that. You put the spark plug cap back on, and you hope that your bike fires up. Okay, so let's assume it's not firing up. The question we might want to know, just in terms of contacting our support line, has the bike got a major breakdown, or is the spark plug just old? You don't need to do this, but it's helpful for us to know. You would have a spark plug removal tool, and these are located in the back left of the XRs. A lot of customers steal them. We don't actually check it, but hopefully you have a tool. If not much you can do. You just got to get to a mechanic shop. No big deal, because there are mechanics everywhere. But anyway, just so you know the process, and this is what a mechanic will do when they first come across a bike that won't start. So that's now off. What we're going to do is put that into the spark plug cap, like so. Now, there's a couple of things to observe here. What we're going to do is touch the engine, fully touch the engine like this. If you have a gap between the engine and the spark plug, even if the spark plug is dead, it will look like it's still working. So the key here for this test is it's got to be fully on the engine. The second thing is if you touch any of this metal or you accidentally drop your hand and touch elsewhere on the bike, you will get an electric shock. It hurts a bit, but it's not too bad. Ow! Why? So you want to keep your hand away from everything, all the metal anyway. Ideally, maybe wearing gloves could help. And you're going to turn the bike on and then hit the starter. Okay, so what we're looking for is a consistent spark. This bike is basically brand new. This spark plug is great. Right, so what we have now on my chair here, seat, is one broken spark plug and one that works. Neither of them are new though. And I'm going to try and figure out which one is dead. So again, full contact with the bike. Don't touch any metal. Let's go. To me, as your average weekend rider, I actually think that one looks like it's the working one. So I take that out and let's try the other one. And if I'm correct, this one is going to have very little spark or inconsistent. All right, so I can't see anything there. Now let's wave these two around in front of you. On my left here is the broken one. On my right here is a very well used one that's still fine. From the naked eye to us, we're not going to be able to see the difference. A mechanic might be able to. Okay, so moving on. It is also possible for your ignition cable is broken, and therefore putting any spark plug in is not going to work. There's going to be no spark. But at this point, I would say we're above our pay grade. What you can do for that one is you unscrew the spark plug cap, and on that case, you're going to put the cable to the engine. But this time, you're going to want a gap between the engine and the cable. And it's even easier to electrocute yourself. But I think for purposes of this video, that's going a little bit too detailed. So spark plugs, the main brand around the world is called NGK, and that's also what we're using here. They come in all different shapes and sizes, but they also have different temperature ranges and other sort of compounds and materials that go into them. A bit like oil, you have 10W40, 10W50. Spark plugs are no different. They have codes on them that will decide what's in it and the temperature range for it. So just because it fits in your bike doesn't necessarily mean it's the correct spark plug for your bike. The good news is the XR in particular shares basically the same spark plug as all of the local Honda scooters. But if your bike is a bigger or a more fancy bike, a mechanic might just put in any old spark plug. The bike might work, but it's not technically correct and it might not run quite as it should. You can look up the spark plug that's supposed to go in your bike. It will have a code from NGK, and you can then Google NGK part code diagram. And it's not that simple, but it's also not rocket science. You can figure out which spark plug you need for your bike. And on the spark plug here is codes. So you can check this yourself. But yeah, getting a bit technical for our purposes there. Right, so that will tell you if your spark plug is inconsistent with the spark. And if your bike is running badly, you can do that test yourself. And you can say to our support, look, I've run this test. The spark is not good. Can I go to a mechanic shop and change the spark plug? Spark plugs range really from about $7 for a bike like this. They're very, very cheap, up to around $25 for more fancy bikes. But considering their price point and how important they are to the bike, it's a no-brainer just to change the spark plug and keep it in good condition. There's no point going around playing games, fiddling with it, fixing it, which mechanics like to do here. Just change it and be done with it. We would reimburse you on one of those things, by the way. Okay, so moving on from spark plugs, just quickly to tag to the end of this video. One of the most useful things you can do, apart from this spark plug test when your bike is broken down, is to let us know, has it got compression or not? So by that, what I mean is you have a kickstart here. If the kickstart is super, super loose, like no pressure at all, it means something's gone wrong in the engine and you have a major failure. And the nice thing about this is we can straight away decide your bike's got a broken engine, we need to do an emergency thing, a truck, replacement bike, that kind of thing. There's no more diagnostics or talking to do, your engine's dead. The same story for if your kick is completely jammed. If you can't move it at all, again, your bike is done for. We don't need to talk further. The question becomes, how do we get you out of this mess? So that's really, really useful to know. This is a brand new bike, and you can see there's some pressure. There's also going to be air coming out of the spark plug cap. If you can tell us the kick is jammed or really loose or sort of perfect, tell us if the spark is good, tell us if the electrics are working. It will save a lot of time and effort in figuring out where we are with a broken down bike. I hope this video has been helpful. Thanks for watching.